Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this new figure showcase and review, we're going to be looking at the Transformers Legacy United. This is Voyager class Vector Prime. So what we're going to do with this video, we're going to have a detailed look at him in both his modes, help you decide how you want to display him. We're going to bring in his original toy to do some comparisons, see how different he looks compared to that. We're then of course going to bring in the original owner of the mold, again to see how different he looks from that. And then of course bring in some other figures from the same sort of toy lines to give you an idea of how they all look and display together. So as I start to pop all these away, I'd like to thank Hasbro, who very kindly lent me this figure from the display at the MCM Comic Con with in-demand toys, so I could get you this review out officially. So let's start off with looking at the figure itself. So yes, it is a heavy retool of the G-Axis figure, which we can tell here, but first and foremost what we're going to do is some first impressions, then we'll look at the alternate mode, and then we'll come back and do all the relevant poses and comparisons. So first impressions, I do really like it. I think it looks good. I think the color scheme is a great homage to it. The head sculpt for me, let's have a quick look, I think looks great. There's loads of extra detail. The blue there is like a metallic sort of paint reflecting, same as the eyes. The gold looks good. The head will turn all the way around. It can obviously look up and down as well, which is great. The shoulders themselves will come all the way out. Even with the shoulder pads, you can fold the shoulder pads down and get a slightly higher range of motion as well, which is great. You can then of course rotate these all the way around unrestricted. You can swivel there, you can bend at the bicep, that will come nearly all the way up but not quite. There is a wrist swivel. There is a waist swivel as well, which you can see there. Sometimes these may get in the way, but it's not too bad. You can, I suppose, position these how you want. They're not too obstructive, but of course you can definitely see that they are there. With the legs, you can kick this all the way up past a point of 90, really far, which is great. You can then, of course, kick it back. And again, if you just slightly move these out of the way, it will go. Will it go past the point of 90? No, it's just a little bit hindered. And obviously with this being a new toy, I definitely don't want to apply any extra pressure that we don't need to. There is a swivel beneath the thigh, a knee bend, an ankle tilt and rock, which is great. Now he doesn't come unfortunately with his, of course, old minicon, which we can have a look because we can port that in the alternate mode. He does come with his sword, which looks great. I'm a big fan, even though some people aren't, of translucent plastic. That's even better because it's got like a shine. Looks like it's looks like it's molded into it. And of course he has a small Cybertron key, which is exactly that, much smaller than the original. Right, that's it for first impressions. We're going to come back. He's going to be in his alternate mode, and then of course we'll do all the other things I mentioned earlier straight after that. So here he is in his alternate mode, and before we have a quick look at him with all of his accessories, let's first look at the packaging, because again the artwork on here is stunning. So he does come packaged into his robot mode, and because of that you've got the alternate mode on the front. We've of course got the Legacy United logo there, and the very familiar but still beautiful artwork on the side. On the back you can see that it took 22 steps to transform him, and you've probably noticed that I've uploaded the tutorial separately. That is to keep the main length of this video down, and of course not to spoil it for anybody who doesn't want to see it unless they really want to. So on the side we've got the bust of Vector Prime there at the top, and indeed the full artwork there. And again, I'm sure you'll agree, it just looks stunning. So onto the actual alternate mode itself. Again, paint apps on here really work. I hope that it's coming across on the camera that the gold and this turquoisey colour is in fact very reflective. I mean, it is of course now a lot more noticeable to tell that it is a retool of this particular mold. You can tell from the legs mainly. The fronts do look completely different. Underneath though, oh, it just got caught, the arms and a lot of the things are pretty much very similar, but the color scheme and everything from this just really separates it. And I think the color scheme on it just really works. It's quite a bit smaller obviously than the original, which we'll bring in again in a second. You can of course take your cyber key and you can attach this here as well. And I think actually probably before I did that I should have had a go at, will it still fit on? Yeah, it'll still, oh no, I've got to take the cyber key off now. But you can, just as a bit of fun, and again a great homage to the original. This is the minicon from the original, and that's just I suppose a little bonus or a little Easter egg, whatever you want to call it, that you can in fact still attach. But with regards to this particular version, again you pop this there, it just fills that gap, and then with the sword you pop this under one of the wings at the back like so. This is all in the instructions, that's just came off there. I suppose to give you an idea of some size with some of the current figures, and this is quite ironic because this is a pretty much copy of the 2-pack that was released again back at the time of Cybertron, when it was a 2-pack like this with Starscream and indeed Vector Prime himself. Here's another figure in his alternate mode. This is of course an Earthrise Seeker, just to give you an idea of the size and scale. So it's a little bit smaller than a Seeker, but of course a lot bigger than your standard vehicles. Even though Dragstrip is a huge vehicle, it's much bigger than that. There we go. Alternate mode, as I say, is great. It's time to come back, have a proper look at him now in his robot mode, and do all the other comparisons and see how he displays with other figures in the same and different toy lines. Right, back for the final time with him in his robot mode, and if I was to be displaying him, this is exactly how I would be displaying him, because I think it's just that little bit better aesthetically looking than the alternate mode. So with his accessory, and again, hopefully you can see this in the video, that this is glistening plastic. This fits in there no problem whatsoever, and I always confess that I'm not the greatest at posing figures, but it works really well. What you can also then do is you can take the Cybertron key, and this will then fit onto there as well. That'll clip in and it'll still fit in his hand, no issue. And then it's like, I suppose you've got like a powered up sword. I'm not too sure. Again, I openly admit that Cybertron is a bit of a black hole in my knowledge, because I was in my early 20s when all of these did come out. So with regards to some of the figures, let's bring in, I suppose, one of the main ones that he was always sort of pitted against, and that was Starscream. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it was in this original box set that first alluded me to the two of them. You can see there is your Voyager class Starscream and Vector Prime, and again, that is what I suppose got me interested into this particular toy line. With regards to some other Cybertron figures, we can bring in Hotshot there, and we've got Override. Where's Override gone? There she is. So that's 2, 3 Voyager class and a deluxe, all from the same toy line. And again, they do look great together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in Optimus Prime in a minute, but before we do that, what I'm going to do is of course bring in the original Vector Prime mold, which is much bigger, much heavier, and not as articulate, and of course there's huge bits of kibble all over this, and again, people will argue with me, and I completely accept that. They're both great toys in their own right. This one's got a lot of kibble on the back due to its age. This one's got some stuff there that, to be honest, it doesn't really need, because of course that is for the other mold, and perhaps they could have got rid of that, let's be honest. But I think personally, because I know they've sort of tried to change it slightly, and maybe it's improved, maybe the mold's improved, maybe not. Again, you guys let me know in the comments what you think, but there's a huge difference there between these two figures. In fact, again, because of the mold that it did use, this, there you go, this is exactly why we've got them little bits there, which of course aren't used on Vector Prime. So we can see that the legs are pretty much the same, the arms from the shoulders down are the same, but then nothing else around there. The chest is different, the head sculpt is different, the backpack, yeah, that's different as well, but again, you can tell that it is the same mold. Let's move him out of the way then, and let's bring in, let's see if I can get all of these in one particular shot, because I think they do all look great together. It's just a massive different colours, and again, I really appreciate and really like that. And again, it's great for everybody else, because this wasn't my generation one. My generation one was literally generation one. So for anybody whose was Cybertron or Armada, then you've got all of these great figures already, and I'm sure they're going to be adding more to it. There we go, guys. This is Vector Prime from the new Legacy United toy line. Huge thank you again to Hasbro for loaning me this to do the review, and of course In Demand for putting up the MCM Comic Con stand, which is where this came from. There we go, guys. Let me know what you think of it in the comments, and of course, please take care.